Okay, so you're probably searching on the internet about how to biohack, how to be able to get the best quantification of self, how to be able to better yourself, think more clearly, do things faster, be happier, and be able to hack your body so that you could have the best health. My name is Dr. Joel Rosen. I am the Stress Recovery Ninja. I have a YouTube channel called Your Adrenal Fix, and I also have a website called The Truth About Adrenal Fatigue. And today I want to talk to you about the video series that we're going to be creating for Game Changers. And we're going to start with the introduction, but I want to give you a functional nutrigenomic approach to the laws that Dave has put together with all the guests that he interviews, and put it in a different kind of spin where it comes from a functional medicine doctor that works with people and does genetic testing and also teaches them how to become metabolically flexible, get into ketosis, get out of ketosis, do diet variation, look at your heart rate variability, and look at these different metrics to figure out how to get your body performing at its fullest. So that's what I want to do. I want to talk to you about that right now, and I want to get into basically the concepts that Dave talks about in the beginning in his introduction to his book Game Changers. The first one is mitochondria. If you've read of his other books, Headstrong, and you're aware of what the mitochondria does, we got to talk about that in this intro video. Talking about your innate systems priorities. These are your instincts. Let's talk about those. Talking about designing your environment, because your genetics don't become relevant unless your environment plays that perfect storm. And I'll give you an example. If I have a weak immune system, I'm not a good detoxer, and I live in a very toxic, environmentally, chemically laden, toxic environment, and I'm in bad relationships, that's going to create the perfect storm of causing my genetics to express. And then I also want to talk about setting rules around that, because Dave puts it beautifully in terms of when you understand these things and you set up your rules of your environment to work in your favor, then you can be accelerating in the areas that you want to accelerate in. So the thing I wanted to talk about with you first is mitochondria. We know that those are the power plants of the cell. They're basically evolved bacteria that shares a symbiotic relationship with our body, and it makes an agreement. Okay, you keep me fed, I'll keep you alive. You keep me fed, I'll keep you alive. And what Dave basically says is that our dumb mitochondria can work for us. They basically are designed for three things, right? For fear and being able to flee, for food and being able to have enough nutrients, and to fornicate, to be able to reproduce. And when your body gets into that particular way of thinking and living, it can be detrimental to your progress. So that's what we get into, the innate systems priorities. So your innate body wants to continue to propel its species. It wants to be able to eat, and it also wants to be able to avoid danger. And that's where we talk about, where Dave talks about power, money, and sex. And it's unfortunate that our biochemistry, our mitochondria, has us basically instinctually going towards that. But basically the main premise of Dave's book is to be able to biohack that and focus in the congruencies of what it is that makes you happy. And what's that frequency? It's not what are we running away from, it's what are we moving towards, and that's really key. And that gets into designing your environment, making sure that you are aware of all of your genetic susceptibilities, your environmental triggers, and what you can do to maximize what it is that you're gravitating towards and not so much moving away from, and design it that way. And that's what these video series are for. And then it gets up to basically setting up rules around that. So now you make the rules of how to live your life, and it becomes hackable. That's what happens. So the thing I wanted to mention is there's three goals. We want to become smarter, faster, and happier. And what does that mean from a functional medicine standpoint? Becoming smarter has to do with brain and brain fog and antioxidant systems, fuel, delivering enough fuel in way of oxygen and glucose, being able to stimulate and activate the neurons. what does the genetics have to do with things, and what did the environment have to do with things. Number 2, becoming faster has to do with your metabolic health. How are you able to produce ATP, and how are you methylating? How are you able to clear out these things? Do you have energy for basic functions, but beyond that, extracurricular functions? And then mineral production. Very, very key. And then lastly is happier. How do I become happier? That has a lot to do with neurotransmitter health. It has a lot to do with producing enough neurotransmitters so that you have the stimulation and you're not understimulated, but it also has to do with not producing too much and being overstimulated. And that's where those nootropics can be very helpful or can hinder you. And then also looking at removing and clearing these things out. So I'm super excited to be putting this video series together. Let me know if you have any questions. I will basically go off of the different chapters which Dave does in his book, and we're starting with the intro, and I look forward to answering all your questions and helping you biohack your life so you can become faster, smarter, and happier. Have an awesome day. Take care.